Hello there and welcome to another Classic Golf Clubs video. As usual, here are the main times for different parts of the video should you wish to skip forward to anything. In today's video we'll be focusing on the Wilson brand, in particular the clubs of play which are Wilson Staff Tour Blades. The shank references have nothing to do with Wilson but merely reflect my own lack of ability when it comes to playing golf. Well, let's get started. Today's clubs then. A bit of a Wilson feature going on today. We'll start with the woods. I've got a 1 and a 3 wood. We've already seen these in the video including the Mizuno TP19 irons. I think these are a UK made model. Wilson Dyna-Power, laminated maple with a nice face insert there. So that's as much as we need to see of those, I think. Let's look at the irons then. Today we've got a very nice set of Wilson Fluid Feel Staff Tour Blade irons. These were released in 1984 and manufactured until 1986. They were really one of Wilson's last proper staff blades before the cavity back designs such as the 1200 series began to dominate the range. So let's have a look at these then and see if we can see just how good a blade they are. Straight away it's a very nice design. Oops, just wrecked the shot. We can see staff tour blade, line over. There are various versions of these. This one is generally referred to as the line over the tour blade. We can see the Fluid Feel name there, and that refers to the hosel plug that was used. We can see there it's a black hosel plug on this set. This was created by Wilson as a way of moving weight from the hosel area of the blade into the head, which would improve the location of the centre of gravity. It's been copied quite a bit by various manufacturers and using different methods. Earlier clubs often had a very long hosel. We've seen over the years the hosel length decreasing, again to move weight into the head area. So Fluid Feel was Wilson's way of doing that, and the clubs will always have a plug in here, which is some sort of polymer, I think. It's a drill through hosel. The shaft comes down to a normal sort of distance, and then we've got the plug in there, which is obviously a lot lighter than steel. So that's where the name the Fluid Feel comes from. I suspect that these have been reshafted because I don't think this is the original ferrule. We'll take a short break here because the other reason I think these have been reshafted are the very unusual shaft lengths. The 3, 4 and 5 irons are pretty much the same at that of a typical 3 iron length. 6, 7, 8 and 9 are okay, I suppose, but then we come to the pitching wedge and sand iron, which are very short. So whoever did these had some unusual ideas about shaft lengths. There are no visible shaft bands on here. We've got a bit of a mark there. I can't really make out what it was, and that's about the best on the clubs. Nice frosted face on the grooves, and they're boxed in by a diamond pattern. I think one thing that will be interesting to look at here is the big difference between most of the American clubs produced after the war and most of the British clubs. And we'll probably see that best on the 5 iron. Let me just put that one back there. And that is the material. Most British clubs of this time were produced with stainless steel, either cast or forged. I'd say the majority were cast. The better ones were possibly forged. But American clubs were nearly all forged mild steel or steel of some form, and then they were chrome plated. And we can see here on the sole of the 5 iron where that chrome plating is coming away a little bit, and we can see the bare metal underneath. So that's the big difference between British and American clubs of the time. American clubs would be forged steel, British clubs stainless steel, either cast or forged. Whether one is better than the other, I think it just comes down to personal preference. The actual performance of each club will be very much the same. Finally the putter then, and sticking with the American theme, we've got a Spalding putter. See on the sole there, a straightforward blade type putter with a small flange on the back, very small, just to give it a bit of extra weight. And the model, turn that round so we can read it, is a synchro line. Nice ferrule on there, black with blue and white double band. There's no shaft label on this one. It does have the original leather grip. If I can bring that round, you can see that there. Fairly good condition. I'm not sure what date this putter is. I'm assuming it was made in America, although Spalding did have a factory in Scotland for many years, and later on they moved to Northern Ireland. So it could have been produced there, but I've got a feeling that this is an American produced putter. I think it would be worthwhile having a look at Wilson irons in a little bit more detail. In fact, the Wilson brand altogether. One of the biggest and best known sporting golf brands in the world, really. And I'll also bring up some of the earlier Wilson staff irons, some of which are absolutely gorgeous to look at, and I'm sure to play as well. Unfortunately, I don't have any of those. So we'll just be playing the Staff Tour Blade line over model. Time for a very brief look at Wilson. Formed as Ashlord Manufacturing Company in Chicago, Thomas E. Wilson became company head in 1914 and the Wilson name was born. Known for all sorts of sporting products, not just golf, the company grew enormously. In 1922, Gene Sarazen was the first professional to join the Wilson staff and remained with them for over 75 years. Sarazen is well known for his involvement in the early development of the sand iron, and his R90 model became a classic. Many other greats of the game joined the Wilson staff: Sam Snead, Arnold Palmer, Patty Berg, Bernard Langer, Billy Casper, Ben Crenshaw. The list goes on and on. Scotsman Willie Ogg joined Wilson in the 1930s, and during this time developed his revolutionary Ogg-Mented iron design, which changed the thinking of where the centre of gravity for an iron should be, moving it away from the hosel and towards the toe. This train of thought was also evident in the fluid field design, first seen in the late 1950s in the new Staff Dyna-Powered irons, where the hollow hosel allowed for weight to be redistributed in the head. In this photograph, it's clear how weight has been moved to the toe of the club, which repositions the centre of gravity. And in this second picture, we can even see holes drilled and filled with lead. From the Ogg-Mented club of the 1930s, it's easy to trace the development of the Dyna-Powered clubs. 1951 top-notch Dyna-Weight. 1954 top-notch Dyna-Weight with slightly less pronounced weighting. 1956 Dyna-Powered with the first fluid feel hosel. 1959 Dyna-Powered. 1960 Dyna-Powered. 1962 Dyna-Power with the famous Turf Rider sole. 1965 Dyna-Power. And 1966 Dyna-Power. The 1969 Dyna-Power, known as the bullet back, and the 1971 Dyna-Power, known as the button back. 1975, I think, was the last Dyna-Power and has a screw insert cover to allow for weight to be added or taken away. And finally we get to the 1984 Staff Tour Blade I'm playing today. This doesn't include all models and I can't guarantee the accuracy of the dates. We'll briefly look at Wilson in Scotland. In 1962, Sam Snead opened a new factory in Irvine near Glasgow, and it was heralded as Europe's largest golf manufacturing plant, producing many clubs for UK and Europe, often to their own design, for instance the model shown. But before this, Wilson also had a relationship with Scottish brand St Andrew Golf Company Limited of Glasgow and Dunfermline, a company going back to the Hickory era with their famous running stag cleat mark. And we can see Wilson influence on some of the heads, for instance the Wilson flags shown on the irons here. I believe that Willie Ogg was poached from St Andrew Golf back in the 1930s. The stag clubs here from the 1930s have obvious Willie Ogg influences in the design. Exactly what Wilson's relationship with St Andrew Golf Company was, I've not been able to find out, but if anybody has any information on this, can you please let me know? Like most long-lived companies, Wilson's history hasn't been all plain sailing, and it's only recently that they've regained a position of market respect. The story of their recovery makes fascinating reading, but I don't have time for it here, so I'll post a link to a good article in the description below. Time to get out on the course now, and as usual I'm posting the lofts for the clubs, and this time I've also included the strange lengths, not that I'm using that as an excuse for the dreadful display of play that you're about to see. I apologise in advance to those of a weak disposition. Oh, hello. Here we are for another on-course video, this time with the Wilson clubs that I've shown you already. I was hoping to be a little bit more forgiving with myself in terms of time and such, but I've ended up rushing here. I've just looked in my bag, I've only got one ball. I've just played the first hole as a warm-up. I played a couple of days ago in a match, and I had a really bad case of the shanks with the Dunlop Tony Jacklins that I featured in the last video, and I was hoping that maybe the change of clubs would sort those out. I've just played the first hole as a warm-up, hit a decent drive, and then took a 7-iron and shanked it miles right. But luckily, while I was looking for my ball, I did find 3 others, which are pretty ancient looking things, but at least gives me some backup. So let's have a quick look at the clubs we've got today then. So here we go then, the Wilson clubs, and I've sorted out a nice Wilson bag to go with them to complete the ensemble. And there we can see the Wilson Staff Tour Blade, line over, and the Wilson 1 and 3 wood, and the Spalding line right putter. I'll just have a quick look at the putter. I didn't really mention the facts about the putter, that I think it's a ladies putter. For some reason blue was used for ladies clubs, and this has got a blue synchro line and also the blue bands on the ferrules, which probably indicate that this was a ladies putter. Not coming into focus, there we go. And it's also a little bit shorter than a normal putter, but I do like my putters on the shorter side, so hopefully that'll work okay. Well, I did everything I could think of to not shank that one. For such a dreadful shot, it's actually worked out not as bad as it could have done. I'm going to hit a sand iron, try and get it on the green. One thing I've noticed about Shot Tracer is when the ball art leaves the screen, it seems to take a long time to catch up, so the ball is often landed by the time Shot Tracer has caught up with it. I'll put a small circle in here to show the ball landing. Good short game shot for me, that. Right, see how the Spalding synchro line does then. Hopefully that stopped short of the bunker, but knowing my luck, probably not. I shouldn't really, but I'm going to try another iron shot. I should really hit a wood, but I'm going to hit a 5-iron. Jank. $150 yards to go. I'm going to try 6. In the bunker, I've taken a COVID drop. Not pretty, that was quite a good chip for me. Shot tracer couldn't pick this up into the sun, but it went towards the group of trees on the right there, and here it is. Here's my drive, nothing for it but to chip out sideways. At least it's a nice dusky view anyway, even if the golf's a pile of. Got 215 yards to go. I should hit the 3-wood, but I'm going to hit an iron just for the entertainment value. Again, shot tracer couldn't pick this up into the sun, or maybe it's just not very good at picking up shanks. Shank might be lost, we'll see. I found the ball in the undergrowth, but had no choice but to take a penalty drop. I avoided the shank. How about that? Even the driver's failing me now. That's somehow scuttled up to 180 yards. I've got 175 left. I'm going to hit a 5-iron, which, if I hit it okay, will get me to the front of the green, I think. More likely, look out right. As suspected, a socket rocket. I've now left myself about 85 yards to go, sand ledge. Reasonable contact and left side of the green. Not sure where that came from, but it wasn't off the hosel. ...140 yards, theoretically a 7-iron. Again, shot tracer lost this one as it left the screen, and it took a lot longer to come down than it actually did, landing on the left side of the green. How about that? Hit one. So there we are, pin high, just a little bit to the left. Oh, hurrah! As shown, I failed to press record, and the resulting shank found the rough not very far down the right hand side. 8 iron. $195 to go, 3 iron. One of the few half decent shots that I hit today. Hit one. Hit left, but it wasn't a socket. Level with the front of the green, short sided, sand red. The rest of my iron game is rubbish. I'm actually playing some reasonable short range shots. Another one shot tracer didn't pick up, but it went 187 yards and landed in the right hand bunker. 187, I'm in the bunker. I'll try 9 iron. $203 to go. Keep up the entertainment value with a 3 iron. Probably in the left hand bunker, just short of the bunker. I'm going to play a 9 iron. Even the puttings let me down now. I think today's been a disaster, or mitigated disaster. It could be the last video that I do. By this stage my videoing ability had fallen to the level of my golf, and I think I'd lost the will. Three puts to finish, sums it up. 3 puts to finish, sums it up. And here are the cold hard figures for the round. 2 bogeys, 2 doubles, 1 triple, 2 quads and 1 par. Pretty embarrassing all in. The initial intention was just to play 3 holes, but the play was so poor that I carried on in the hope that I'd be able to put some decent shots together for you, but it didn't happen. And the end result was I began to question what I was doing really. The idea of the Classic Golf Club videos is to show how easy it is to play with classic golf clubs, but I seem to be doing anything but at the moment. And the amount of time it takes me to put these together is a lot longer than I initially anticipated. I do like the format of reviewing the irons and then playing with them. Perhaps I just need to cut down the amount of time I spend on each phase and just keep things nice and short. If I'm going to carry on, I need to think again about how I'm doing this. I'm not quite as despondent as I was when I finished making the video, or the playing video, but I do need to think again about how I put these together and what I include and what I don't include. I apologise for the downbeat ending, but I couldn't think of much positive to say really. But as usual, thanks for watching. Hopefully there'll be another one, and hopefully I'll see you then.